Erev Tov, everyone. In the Parsha of Nitzavim, there is a posuk that is very difficult to understand, but on the surface seems to be simple. The posuk says, "Hanistoros LaHashem Elokeinu," was hidden belongs to the Lord our God. Niglos, and what is open and apparent, Lanu Lavonenu, to us and our descendants, ad olam, Lassos is called Divrei Torah Azos. Rashi says a pshat here based on Medrash that it refers to the responsibility and the liability that until now, if a person sinned privately, the public was not held accountable. But from now on, because of the covenant, so even in the Storos, we are held accountable for it. But that's certainly not the pshat in the posuk. The simple translation of the posuk is not that at all. So in its simplicity, the posuk says basically, listen, what is hidden, don't go there. You're not going to figure it out. Anigos, but what's open, and on film, where it sits, give tzedakah, be a shomer Shabbos, help people. So Lassos is called Divrei Torah Azos. That's our job. You want to figure things out, you want to know what the Nistoros are, so to speak, forget it. You're not going to be able to do it. And that's a very strong concept, because there's a tendency that we want to always deal with Nistoros rather than with Niglos. Life is a mystery. Strange things happen. So we always want to know why. So the Gemara says, for instance, Ein dorshin b'masei merkava. We can darshan on anything in the Torah, but we don't darshan on what's doing in heaven. How does that work? We leave that alone. That's not for us. The famous Gemara that we all know about the four great Tanoim, Arba nichnasu lepardes. They entered the orchard, meaning to understand heaven and everything that goes on. And 3 out of the 4 were destroyed by it. Only Rabbi Akiva escaped. So if you got a 75% chance of being harmed, you don't do it. So this, I thought, contrary to public opinion, I do think about what I'm going to say before I say it. I always wondered, the Kriyas HaTorah for Rosh Hashanah doesn't fit. All of the Chagim, the Kriyas HaTorah is about the day. Yom Kippur, we read the Avodah, in the Beis Hamikdash and the Mishkan by Aaron. Sukkot is Vasukos Teishvu. Pesach, we read about Yetzias Mitzrayim. Shavuos, we read about Matan Torah. Rosh Hashanah, we read about Sorah and Chana, about the Akedah. What's it got to do with Rosh Hashanah? If we're up to me, if they asked me what we should lean on Rosh Hashanah, we should lean Bereshis Bara Elokim Hashemayim V'Sa'aretz. Hayom Hara Solom. It's the day of creation. So read Bereshis. What are you reading this for? Always troubled me. And the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah says there's 5 things that happen on Rosh Hashanah. So Sarah was remembered to have a child. Rachel was remembered to have a child. Chana was remembered to have a child. Yosef was released from prison. And that was the day that the Jewish people no longer were released from the bondage of having to work in Egypt. Those are the 5 things the Gemara mentions. Why doesn't the Gemara mention that the world was created? I mean, is there any greater thing than the universe that we live in? Is there anything more complex, more beautiful, more exquisite, more exact? Not mentioned. That's not Rosh Hashanah. So I thought that the answer may be, you're never going to figure out creation. There are theories, there's this, there's that. It's beyond us. It's Maaseh Merkava. Rosh Hashanah has to do with people, has to do with us. The essence of the day is that we are judged. Our behavior, it's the essence of the day that we can make requests, that things are decided. That's the essence of the day. So we see that. That's what Sarah was remembered on Rosh Hashanah. It was a personal request. Hashem Pokad Sarah Lema. Rachel was remembered. Chana was remembered. Yosef got out of jail. Our forefathers were freed from actual physical labor in Egypt on Rosh Hashanah. Those are all personal things. Those are all items that, so to speak, we could easily relate to. I cannot relate to creation. I've read tens of books by astronomers and scientists, and I can't figure it out. Yeah, Big Bang, no Big Bang. I don't know. How can such a universe come into being? And how can it have such exactitude? That everything should be put, if it's off a little, boom, there's nothing here. And how can there be that in subatomic particles, until I look at it, it doesn't exist? My mind doesn't wrap itself around those mysteries. So that's on Historios L'Hashem Elokeinu. That's beyond us. And many, many times people fall into traps trying to understand things that are beyond them. That's why the whole idea of the study of Nistor, of the hidden things, was always controversial in Jewish life. And it was always held only for certain great individuals that could delve into it. And even they, we see from the Tanoim, even they could be damaged by it. But in our time, it's widespread. It's a business. There's a Kabbalah center in Los Angeles, right? You want to understand everything, he'll explain it to you. It's $100 a lesson. The Torah wanted us to avoid that. So the Torah told us the simple pshat on his Torah of Lashem Elokeinu. There's a line between heaven and earth, between the infinite and the finite, between the eternal and the temporary. That line has to be recognized. But by Haniglos, the Rabbanu Shalom did us a chesed. Asher bocharbonu mikol olamim v'nosam lanu as Torah sod. He gave us a Torah to live by, to have an attachment to the Creator, to also have a piece of eternity. So that's Vaniglos lonu levaneinu ad olam is lasos is called the Torah azos. And I think that remains true and valid and relevant, certainly in our time, where a great deal of confusion reigns regarding many matters in religious Jewish life. The Torah is meant to be simple. It is not meant to be complicated. It says, God made man to be straight. And they're always looking to complicate it. They're always looking for great theories to explain things that are beyond us. So that's a posuk to think about in this week's parsha. And I'm sure that after this, you'll think about it. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashi Omer Ratzah Kodesh Baruch Hu Zakos Yisrael Vichachir B'Lahem Torah Mitzvot Shenemar Adonai Chafetz Saman Tzidko Yadil Torah V'Yadil.